The following is a class on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 7th chapter, text number 1, given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded in February of 1969 in Los Angeles.
Chapter 7, page 166, the knowledge of the Absolute. 1. Now hear, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. Report.
Arjuna's mother was known as Pritha. Her father's name was Maharaj Prithu. Therefore, Arjuna is known as Partha. Sometimes Arjuna is addressed as Partha. It comes from the meaning, root meaning of Arjuna's mother's father, grandfather. Go on.
Report. In the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, the living entity has been described as non-material spirit soul, who is capable of elevating himself to self-realization by different types of yogas. At the end of the 6th chapter, it has been clearly stated that the steady concentration of the mind upon Krishna, or in other words, Krishna consciousness, is the highest form of all yoga. By concentrating one's mind upon Krishna, one is able to know the absolute truth completely, but not otherwise. Impersonal Brahma Jyoti or localized Paramatma is not perfect knowledge of the absolute truth because it is partial.
Yeah. Impersonal, just like sunshine and the sun disk and the inhabitants of the sun globe, in one sense, they are one unit. You cannot separate from sunshine from the sun disk, or the sun disk from the inhabitants or the predominating deity of sun planet. They are all in light, but still there is difference. Sunshine is coming within your room. Although the sun disk and the sunshine is not different, still when you realize what is sunshine, that does not mean you realize what is the sun disk. This is very practical. To understand what is sunshine does not mean to understand what is sun disk. You can have some idea. The sun disk is also light, and it has got heat, it is illuminating. These ideas you can get, but not exactly what is the temperature of that sun disk, how you can live there. There are so many things to learn. Therefore, impersonal Brahma, understanding of impersonal Brahma, is not perfect knowledge. Exactly, knowledge of sunshine is not perfect knowledge of sun. That you can understand very easily. Suppose daily you are having sunshine within your room. Does it mean you know what is sun disk or what is the inhabitants of the sun globe? No, nobody knows. Similarly, impersonal knowledge of the Absolute Truth is like that. That is not complete knowledge. Although it is light, Sunshine is also light, sun disk is also light. And the inhabitants there, they also must be light, otherwise how they can live? They also must be fiery. Because the inhabitants there, they are also fiery. Without being fire, how can live in fire? Sun is fire, everyone knows it. The temperature is very high. So one without having a body suitable to that temperature, how they can live there? But there are living entities. That we have got. Because you cannot live in the water, that does not mean there is no living entity in the water. This is nonsense. So if we similarly conclude, because we cannot live in the fire, therefore there is no living entity in the fire. That is nonsense. The exact knowledge is at least to accept this reasoning that I cannot live in the water. But if you count the number of living entities within the water, it is far more than living entities on the land, because the water is 3/4 of the globe. So, how many living entities can live on the 1/4? Naturally, the number of living entities is far greater. But if you conclude, I cannot, if I put into the water, I shall die, so there is no living entity within the water. This is nonsense. You don't compare with your situation with others. That is the mistake, absolutely. We think everything in our own standard. Atmavat mannate jagat. That is the nature, Atmavat. What he is thinking of himself, therefore others must be like that. No, others may be different from you. So, similarly you will find so many differences in so many planets. Their habits, their mode of living, civilization, standard of living is completely different. Even in this planet you will find the standard of living in America is different from the standard of living in South America or Africa or India. So why not in other planets? So everything. In the Brahma Samhita, we understand every planet has a different situation. Not that, everything of this nature. So it is not complete idea. Because you can know what is sunshine, therefore you can know what is sun god or sun disk. No, that can be done. Similarly, because you have some spiritual light, impersonal light. What is that impersonal light? The whole Buddha philosophy, impersonal philosophy is looking to that impersonal. What is that? That because here in this material world I have got bad experience of this personal existence, therefore I conclude that there must be something impersonal that is nice. That is thinking in the opposite way. But that is not actual fact. Just like a diseased person lying in one side, he is getting pain. He thinks, if I lie down on the other side, I will be relieved. That he is thinking. But so long he is diseased, there is no question of relief. He is thinking like that, this way, that way. Just like in the materialistic way. Their last point of happiness is sex life, that's all. So they have enjoyed sex life in this way, now they are trying to enjoy sex life in that way. But the enjoyment is the same. There is no more enjoyment. That is finished. You can eschew in so many ways, but the result is the same. Similarly, unless you have got perfect knowledge of the absolute truth, if you think of the absolute truth as something opposite of your present status, that is not perfect knowledge. The impersonal knowledge is like that, something opposite of this material world. Gone.
Full in scientific knowledge is Krishna, and everything is revealed to the person in Krishna consciousness. In complete Krishna consciousness, one knows that Krishna is the ultimate knowledge,
Now,
beyond any doubt.
here somebody may say that this is too much sectarian, that knowing simply Krishna, everything is known. Somebody may say like that. But actually this is the fact. The Vedic statement says like that. Tasmin vigyate sarvamevam vigyatam bhavanti. If you can understand the origin, person, the original person, the Upanishad does not say directly the original person is Krishna, simply because there are so many impersonalists, but the Upanishad gives hint that if you can understand the original person, tasmin, this is person, tasmin vigyate, if one is able to understand the Supreme Person, sarvamevam vigyatam bhavanti, then everything becomes known. How? Suppose you want to know, say I am a foreigner. If I want to know how this American government is going on, I'll have to study so many things. But somehow or other, if I made friendship with Mr. Nixon, the president, and if I sit down with him a few days, everything is known. Is it not? Yes. He will disclose everything that my government is going on like this, you know. So this is a fact. If you try to understand, or if you somehow or other understand the original person, Krishna, then you can understand everything. That will be explained here. Simply by knowing Krishna, you will understand everything. This wonderful thing is in Krishna consciousness. Simply try to understand what is Krishna, and you will gradually understand everything. This is the secret of Krishna consciousness. And that's a fact. Go on.
Different types of yogas are only stepping stones on the path of Krishna consciousness. One who takes directly to Krishna consciousness automatically knows about Brahmajyoti and Paramatma in full.
Yes. Suppose, the same example, if you can understand the sun disk, then automatically you understand what is sun sign. But understanding sun sign, you cannot understand the sun disk. That is not possible. Therefore, the origin should be understood. Root should be understood. Then everything will be understood. That is knowledge. That will be explained in this chapter. Go on.
By practice of Krishna consciousness yoga, one can know everything in full, namely the absolute truth, the living entities, material nature, and their manifestations with paraphernalia.
What you have to learn? What is knowledge? 5 things. you have to learn. What is your experience within this world? You have experienced this material nature. You are saying this. That's a fact. And you are saying also, thank you, come on. You are experiencing also the living entities. So many living entities. That's a fact. So material nature is a fact. The living entities, they are also fact. And there is some controller of this material nature and the living entity. That is also fact. You cannot say that you are the controller or material nature is controller. There is a supreme controller, that is God. That is also another fact. And time, everything is done within time. Time is also a different relative measure according to your time is different from the time of another animal or another living entity. Just like Brahma's time, you cannot calculate one day of Brahma because your time and his time is different. Similarly, a small microbic animal, his time and your time is different. So he cannot calculate your time. So time is relative. The time, living entity, this material world, and the supreme controller, and activities. Every living entities are engaged in some activities. So you have to understand these 5 things which you are experiencing daily. So if you understand Krishna, these 5 things will be automatically understood and you will understand everything. By understanding one, Krishna, you understand these 5 items. And by understanding these 5 items, you understand the whole thing. That's all. That means you have complete knowledge. So Bhagavad Gita explains like that. Tasmin vijñāte sarvamevam vijñātam bhavanti. Everything becomes known by understanding the Supreme. That is our program. Go on.
We should therefore begin yoga practice as directed in the last verse of the 6th chapter. Concentration of the mind upon Krishna, the Supreme, is made possible by prescribed devotional service in 9 different forms.
Yes. The instruction is that how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, this is Krishna consciousness. With mind attached to me, you can know me in full. And if you know Krishna in full, you know everything. And you can know Krishna simply by your concentrating mind upon Krishna. And as soon as you know Krishna, you know everything. Therefore your knowledge is perfect. Is that argument fallacious? You can understand Krishna simply by concentrating upon it. That you can do, everyone can do that. And as soon as you understand Krishna, you know everything. So why not take this path? Simple. That is full knowledge. That means eternity. So here it is said, the exact word in Sanskrit is Maya sakta manoprartha yogam yujjan madasya. Maya sakta. If you simply become attached to me, Maya sakta mana, your mind should be so trained that you become attached to me. This is yoga. Because yoga means training the mind. to concentrate the mental focus on Vishnu or Krishna. That is the yoga practice. The pressing of nose or making your head down and legs up, these are means come to the point of samadhi, Krishna consciousness. But they are not yoga itself or end. They are means to the end. But here is the end. If you can concentrate your mind on Krishna, then you come to the ultimate point. Therefore Krishna said, simply by concentrating your mind on me, you will understand me perfectly. And as soon as you understand me perfectly, of course we cannot understand God perfectly, that is not possible. He is unlimited, we are not. Still, so far our capacity is concerned, if we can understand Krishna, then everything is known to us. Janma karmam me divyam jujanati tattata takta dehang punarjanma naiti mameti konta. In the 4th chapter it is said that my appearance, disappearance and activities are all transcendent. Anyone who can understand this transcendental nature of my activities, appearance, disappearance, the result is takta deham, after leaving this body, punarjanma naiti. He does not take birth again in this material world. That is stated in 4th chapter. That means immediately liberation achieved. This is a fact. This is Bhagavad Gita study, not that to interpret in your own way. Bhagavad Gita says like that. Therefore we present Bhagavad Gita as it is, without any nonsense interpretation. There cannot be any chance of nonsense interpretation. You have to take fact as it is. Then you study. But they are not inclined to study Bhagavad Gita as it is. They want to study Bhagavad Gita as they are. So how you can study Bhagavad Gita? Your mentality, your situation is completely different. So, according to his own nature, that is also explained, that everyone creates his God, religion, according to his own nature. There are 3 kinds of men: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, those who are in the modes of ignorance, they create their own religion of ignorance. Those who are in the passion, they create a kind of religion of passion. Those who are in the modes of goodness, they create their own. But this system, Krishna consciousness, is transcendental. It is above ignorance, passion or goodness. Goodness is also material. A material good man does not mean he will be Krishna conscious. No. A man may be very pious, moralist, but that does not mean he will be able to become Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious person is above goodness. Jisam antagatam papam jananam punna karmana. But goodness is a qualification to get promoted on the platform of Krishna consciousness. But goodness is not a means to become Krishna conscious. Krishna consciousness, to become Krishna conscious, the means is Krishna only, that's all, nothing else. To become Krishna conscious means we have to adopt the Krishna means, no other means. The Krishna means he is being instructed in this chapter that how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. That is Krishna. This means and the end the same. If you want to come to the end of Krishna consciousness, then you have to become Krishna conscious. The first stage is Krishna consciousness, and the last stage is also Krishna consciousness. The difference is, one stage is immature and the other stage is mature. When it is mature, then you taste it nice. Just like mango. In the unripe stage, it is mango. And the ripe stage, it is mango. But in the ripe stage, you taste nicely. In the unripe stage, the taste is different. But if you give time for ripening, then you will taste. So Krishna consciousness is the means of Krishna consciousness. No other means can be adopted for Krishna consciousness. We should know. Therefore it is being taught here. How by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, you have to think of Krishna always. So therefore our process is how one can think of Krishna always. We have so many departments. The idea is how to think of Krishna. That's all. That is the yoga. Even taking prasadam, you are thinking of Krishna. It is very nice. Krishna has tasted, it is very nice. That is Krishna consciousness. That is yoga. Is there any yoga system in the world that you can become a yogi simply by eating? Is there any yoga system? Just try to understand. Is there any yoga system simply by digging earth for gardening one can become yogi? Is there any yoga system? Here the boys, when they dig earth for planting rose flower for Krishna, he's thinking, the flower will be nice, it will be offered to Krishna. Here is immediately yoga. Just try to understand how nice it is. Whatever you do, if it is done for Krishna, then you are in the highest perfectional stage of yoga. And anyone can do it. If Mr. Darwin or Chandramukhi is asked, all right, you also dig, as he will imitate, and he becomes yogi. Immediately yogi. Just try to understand. Is there any process of yoga system which can teach even a small child to practice and become yogi? No. If you ask a child, or even the father does, you sit down like me, meditate, press your nose, or this, that, she will be not. Cannot do. Unable. Is there any, if I say a child, my dear girl, my dear boy, please do like this, chant Hare Krishna, I immediately do. You see? That is a simple method and the highest method. Not that we are advertising our Krishna consciousness movement. Here the authority, the supreme authority, Krishna says, practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. But if you make your own manufactured meaning of these words and cheat public, that is your business. Our business is not to cheat. We have to say frankly, this is the fact, that's all. But you can cheat, oh, it is not Krishna, it is this and that, so many things. This me means I means you are also I am also I. They explain in that way. The me, the word is me. The me is coming from I. So you are I am I, therefore. It is means you think of yourself, I think of myself, then it becomes. And rascal persons will catch this very and say, oh, then I am always thinking of me. That's all I am good. Because the demons and the rascals, they are simply trying to avoid God. So if somebody teaches, oh, why you are thinking of Krishna? This me means you, I, you. That's all. Oh, that's nice, very nice. The demonic nature is there. I am God, I am everything. So you have to become very cautious, you see. Because my material existence means I have got the tinge of demonic nature. And as soon as I get some impetus from another demon, I become again demon. Again I demon. And then out of Krishna consciousness. Therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has distinctly forbidden. Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoy sarvanash. If you hear the commentary of the impersonalist demons, then your whole thing is spoiled. Your life is spoiled. Gone. Mayavadi bhashya sunile hoy sarvanash. Sarvanash means you lose everything. Because we do not explain demonic explanation, that I am God, you are God, people do not like. Just like the other day, the question, they explain in the... They like that explanation. Because demonic. People are generally demonic, more or less. One may be 50% demon, another may be 80% demon. But everyone in this material world is a demon. Materialistic means demon. Don't you see the example of Hiranyakashipu? What was his fault? He is called a demon. Why? What was his fault? His fault was not to accept God. His small child was devotee, he was thinking of God, and the father was angry. Why you are thinking of God? Why you are thinking of Krishna? You see? But materially, the father was so powerful that he conquered all over other planets. He was so powerful. Say, any materialistic person, if he has got more money, wealth, strength, he is worshipped. So this is demon worship. The demons are generally very powerful. They are so-called educated. They are so-called, so many things they have got. But the taste is, if he has no Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, he is demon. That's all. That is the study of demon. Yes, go on.
Devotional service in 9 different forms, of which Shravanam, hearing, is the first and most important.
Yes. There are 9 different forms of devotional service. Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasam Satkam Atmani Vedanam. These 9. So, The first principle is Savanam. It is said. Savanam means hearing. That's all. The first principle of practicing this yoga, bhakti yoga, beginning, practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. This yoga practice begins simply by hearing. You have got these ears, you simply just lend your ears and you become yogi. And as soon as you become experienced in hearing, you become a preacher, kirtanam. Immediately. One who has heard nicely, he will try to become a kirtanya or preacher. That is natural. That is natural. Savanam kirtanam. And savanam means hearing, and kirtanam means preaching or chanting. Then Savanam kirtanam, the people are hearing so many things daily. They are going to the college, schools, and meetings, and assembly, and association. They are all hearing Savanam. They are practicing yoga. No. Savanam kirtanam Vishnu. You have to hear and preach and chant of Krishna, nothing more. Not that simply by hearing any nonsense things you become yogi. Here it is said, practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, Krishna. So you have to hear of Krishna. You have to speak of Krishna. Then you are yogi. Practice it. Nice. It clearly says, Savanam kirtanam Vishnu. Not any other one. There are so many rascals, they say, you can hear of any demigod, any man, that's all right. No, any man, any demigod is not Krishna. That is misunderstanding. Kamastasta hitagyana jajante anna devata. If any person goes to worship any other demigod, he is persuaded by lust. But those who are worshippers of Krishna, they are not persuaded by lust, they are persuaded by love. That is the difference. Therefore, those who have got lust within their mind, they can worship many other demigods. But those who are freed from all lusty desires, simply want to love Krishna, they can attain this Savanam Kirtanam, chanting and hearing. Savanam, hearing. Then Savanam is the first important part. That is if one simply hears, simply by hearing, sincerely, seriously, he becomes perfect. It is so nice. If simply people come here and simply hear Bhagavad Gita and try to understand it, he becomes perfect. But they will not come. As soon as they will hear, oh, Swamiji is preaching that I am not God, God is defined. Oh, don't come. Finish. I have to flatter him that you are God, then he will come. His hearing is disturbed because there is no flattering words. But if he sticks to hearing only, he becomes perfect. But Maya will not allow him to hear. Oh, please go get out. Don't come here. Even our students, they remain here for some time, go away. Maya dictates, oh, why you are spoiling your time? But the process is very simple, hearing. But mind not allowing to accept the simple process. So one has to become very strong. Mame vaya prapaddanti mayami tang taranti. One who determines, yes, I will hear of Krishna nothing, then Maya cannot do it. Mana will defeat it. If simply one decides that I'll simply of hearing, simply I hear of Krishna and nothing more, then he defeats the Maya. Simply by determination, that's all. Yes.
The Lord therefore says to Arjuna, Ashnu, or hear from me.
Yes, hear from me. And hearing from whom? From a loafer? No, from Krishna or Krishna's representative. That will affect. Hearing, there must be hearing process also from the authorized person. That's like if you take electricity. You should take electricity where the electric point is there. Electric is everywhere, that's nice. Everyone accepts electricity. But you have to take electricity from the plug where the electricity current is going on. Then you get electricity. Therefore, Sravanam, hearing from whom? From Krishna or his representative. Then it is perfect. Not from Dr. Radhakrishna and any other nonsense. Because they are not devotees. They are not representative of Krishna. What will derive? You cannot derive any benefit because there is no electricity. It is simply plug, looking like plug. If you take some white lime water, lime, just like white water, it looks like milk. Is that milk? Because it is white? All is not gold that glitters. Therefore you have to seek person from where you have to hear. Therefore you have to select person from where to hear. That is either you search out or by Krishna's grace you get a person who is authorized, then your life is. Somewhere or other you have to come. Just like Maharaj Parikshit, he was devotee of Krishna from the beginning of his life. Krishna sent him, Parikshit, Sukdev Goswami. Now Maharaj Parikshit is going to die within 7 days. He is very anxious what to do. Please go there. Because Krishna is sitting within yourself. As soon as Krishna finds that you are very sincere, seeking Krishna, Krishna will immediately give you chance. Here is chance. Here is chance. So we have to utilize in that way. Savanam Kirtanam Vishnu. Hear from me. Nobody. Either you hear from Krishna or from Krishna's representative. Just like Arjuna is hearing from Krishna and you hear from Arjuna, then you get the perfect instruction. If you say, where is Arjuna, where is Krishna? But Arjuna's words are there. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's words are there. So if you take the words as it is, then you hear Bhagavad Gita. If you change, then you don't hear Bhagavad Gita, you hear something nonsense. These are very simple things. So hearing is very important. The hear from me. Nobody can be a great authority than Krishna. And therefore by hearing from him one receives the greatest opportunity for progress in Krishna consciousness. You hear from Krishna as he is speaking. He says that practice yoga in full consciousness of me. If you do that, then you hear him. But if you do something nonsense, that is not hearing. That is not hearing. But they will do something nonsense which is not approved by Krishna or his representative. That is their vision. Yes?
One has therefore to learn from Krishna directly, or from a pure devotee of Krishna, and not from a non-devotee upstart, puffed up with academic education.
Yes. If somebody says, oh, I am very good scholar in Sanskrit and English, and this language, that language, I can explain, I have read so many books, and I can comment, I can give footnote, and waste your time, then he is very nice. Simply for wasting time and energy, everyone is ready. And as soon as the right thing is given, right thing, if you say, you haven't got to go through so many the process, you simply chant Hare Krishna. They say this is not. Simply by chanting, they will not accept. There are many stories in this connection, how people are not accustomed to take things very simply. They want something bombastic. Yes. Go on.
In the Srimad Bhagavatam, this process of understanding Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, is described in the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto as follows. To hear about Krishna from the Vedic literature, or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita, is itself righteous activity. And for one who hears about Krishna, Lord Krishna, who is dwelling in everyone's heart, acts as a well-wishing friend and purifies the devotee.
This is very important. In the Bhagavad statement is there. Sinnatang sakata Krishna punnasavana kirtana. If somebody even does not understand the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, simply he sticks to the hearing process. Then there is the result. Sinnatang sakata Krishna. Bhagavad says, one who is just like these children. We have got so many children, devotees here. It is not possible that they are understanding the subtle philosophical statements of Bhagavad Gita, but because they are sitting and hearing, they are writing. But whatever he writes, it is right. Just take a practical example. So, this is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Simply, if one sticks to hearing, he may be a child, he may be a boy, he may be a woman, or he may be some illiterate man or anything less intelligent, it doesn't matter. Simply if he hears, Sinnatang Sakatha Krishna, and Krishna is there within your heart. As soon as Krishna sees, oh, this is very nice, he is hearing about me, he will help you immediately. He will cleanse your heart. Because, therefore, to hear of Krishna Kirtan is also another pious activity. So, these boys, when they are going in the street chanting Hare Krishna, automatically they are giving chance to the people to become pious. Hearing is so important. They are becoming pious. They're purchasing one copy back to Godhead. They're nodding, yes, these boys are very nice. They're accumulating something spiritual. It is so nice. The Sinnatang Sakata Krishna, Punna Sravana Kirtana, simply by hearing chanting, it is pious activities. So one who is engaged in this pious activity, Riddhanta Stavadrani, that one who hears the Krishna, understanding that this person is hearing, he cleanses. The chanting process we have many times discussed, it is the cleansing process. And as soon as the heart is cleansed, one can understand Krishna immediately. It is a cleansing process, this hearing process. Riddhanta Savadrani, Sweet Satam. He is friend, Krishna is friend of everyone. But he is a special friend of the devotees. Sweet Satam. Satam means devotee. And sweet means friend. Krishna is friend. Just like the same example, government is taking care of all citizens, but he is taking more care of the civil citizens than the criminal. The criminal citizens, they are also under the care of the government, but they are not taken so much care as the civil citizens. Similarly, God is taking care of everyone. That's a fact. Maybe he is sinful or not sinful, but he takes special care of the devotees. That is stated in the Bhagavad. Yes.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge. As he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam and from the devotees, he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. By development of devotional service, one becomes freed from the modes of ignorance and passion, and thus material lusts and avarice are diminished.
Yes. This will be the result. Tato rajastamo bhava kamalubha dayastaji, they become diminished. The whole entanglement of our material life is due to our embarrassed by the qualities of ignorance and passion. So, by hearing, these modes of ignorance and passion will be diminished. And then we come to the platform of goodness, and then we come to the platform of transcendental understanding. Yes.
When these impurities are wiped away, the candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness and becomes enlivened by devotional service and understands the science of God perfectly. Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the hard knot of material affection, and one at once comes to the stage of asamsayam samagram, understanding the supreme absolute personality of Godhead.
Asamsayam samagram. By Bhakti Yoga, you can understand the absolute truth as he is, and samagram, in full. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. These words are used in Jatha asangsayam samagram mane jatha gyasya tachino. You will understand me in full and without any doubt. So one who is in Krishna consciousness, he knows God in full and without any doubt. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness can one understand the science of Krishna. That's all. Thank you.
These other five things, then our life will become perfect. You
That I'll explain. Time is relative. Time is eternal. Eternal. But it is just like Brahma's duration of time. That is, according to our calculation, that is eternal. Many, many millions of years. But Brahma is also subjected to birth and death. Although time is eternal, but within this material world, we are not eternal on account of material contamination. But time is eternal. Time is eternal, God is eternal, you are also eternal, living entity. Simply our work is not eternal. That can be changed. That we are changing our work. Suppose in this life you are American, your work is different from the China. But next time when you change your body to something else, your work changes. In this body you are human being. Next time if you become a dog or a demigod, then your work changes. So we are changing our work according to the change of the body. Therefore, work is not eternal. So our whole material existence is due to different kinds of work. So if we make the work also eternal, that is Krishna consciousness activities, then we come to the eternal. But in the material existence, our work is not eternal. We have understood that I am not this body, theoretically. If not practically, theoretically, because we have heard from Bhagavad Gita that dehinasmin jatha dehi kaumana jovanam jara, as the soul is changing the body every moment. And I am not this body. The body is changing. So, body is not eternal, but actually every materialistic person is engaged in the bodily activities. He is acting as American. Why? Because his body is American. He is acting as Indian. Why? Because his body is Indian. He is acting as husband because his body is male. He is acting as wife because his body is female. You take all activities, it is due to this body. But if the soul is eternal, then one should seek, then what is my eternal activity? The bodily activity. Body is not eternal, therefore this activity is also not eternal. Then what is my real activity, eternal activity? That is Krishna consciousness, bhakti. So this work is not eternal, but if you take to Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious activity is eternal. Therefore, there is no loss, even if you cannot complete Krishna consciousness activity that we have already discussed in the last chapter, still you are not in loss. Whatever you do, salpam api yasya dharma shatrayati mahatu vaya. Even it is little done, you get some asset that will never be lost. Therefore, you have to stick to this activity, Krishna consciousness activity. Whatever you do, if we can complete, it is very nice. If not, whatever we do, that is not lost. That is eternal.